So as I look at what are the fastest ways to get into ketosis, that's what this is going to be about. So as I was saying, those first couple of weeks when you're in ketosis, you cannot underestimate how important it is that patients can see they're in ketosis, but that ketone's only going to last a short time in your circulation before your kidneys are going to sense that, hey, these ketones are really abundant. I wonder if we should get rid of a few. And so they put them in your urine. Another place that you can have them is you exhale them in your breath. And this is the safety valves for your body when excessive ketones are present, that, you know, you had a couple hours to use those ketones, your body didn't know quite what to do with them yet, and you got rid of them in your urine, you got rid of them in your breath. So in circulation, those ketones are only going to last a couple of hours. So when I say ketosis, what I'm really referring to is ketones circulating in your blood, and they're available as fuel. This is super important as we train and adapt your cells to use this fuel more often. It has to be available to the cells. Unfortunately, actually I don't know if it's unfortunate, it's scripted in your body's DNA that you're only going to have that ketone in circulation for a couple of hours. And then your body's going to say, you had your chance, you didn't use it, we're going to keep you on the safe side of this chemistry set, we're going to get rid of it in your urine. And that's why those urine ketone strips turn purple when you first start in a ketogenic diet. So I've used this slide before to say what's a good, a better, and the best way to be in ketosis. So we're going to use our little ketone bodies here as a way to get us a little closer to good, better, best. Just like in almost all of my teaching tools, you're not going to start out perfect in this diet. And if you do, I've seen people rush up to the best way to be in ketosis and then they crash. So what I hope to teach you in here is what is ketosis and how do I get into it quickly, and then how do I advance to the next levels of metabolism for my body. So in the good way, we use a salt called beta-hydroxybutyrate. It's also known as exogenous ketones or ketones in a can. We make them in a lab, we have you eat them, and you let the supplement do all the work. And the good part is you can shoot your ketones like up to 10, but they're not being made, so they're just supplements. They're going to run out in a couple hours, and then you're going to have to redose. If you have ever tasted ketones that are in the salt form, you will know that they do not taste that great. That the ketones in a can all have a sugar substitute in them. So in my house, we have ketones in a can, but my husband is allergic to stevia. Just fun fact, if you look where the plant stevia comes from, it comes from the same family tree, if you would, as ragweed. So if you're horrifically allergic to ragweed, you may, like my husband, when he has stevia, he gets mouth ulcers. And then, you know, by the time it's coming out the other end, he's got bloody diarrhea. Very severely allergic to stevia. It is not something he can tolerate. Sugar is better for him than that. But if he wants to use ketones in a can, we have to specifically just have the exogenous ketones, nothing else with it. And the downside to that is they taste terrible. So you want to put them in a capsule or just put them in a place where you can skip the taste buds and get them into your system. And indeed, that does work. Those ketones in a can are made, like I said, in, I don't know, 60s or 70s. And in recent years, a couple of great companies have decreased the cost of them or improved the production line. And even those teams studying the Navy SEALs have said there are really great places where we can just use these supplements to put those ketones in circulation, and it helps people. I've shared a couple of times when I have a patient coming in with severe depression, and yep, I can start you on Prozac, Paxil, Zoloft, Celexa. I can use an antidepressant. It's going to help you, but it's going to be a minor help. In the meantime, if we change the fuel your brain is using while my drug starts to work, because it can take up to 10 days before it's really impacting their brain when I start those prescriptions. Sometimes they never fill the prescription because their brain is working better so quickly that they don't necessarily want to take the prescription, so that's part of what we're fighting as well. But those delivery of ketones when their brain isn't working well is a powerful transition. Last week I spent a lot of time on brains and inflammation and how important it is to do all different sorts of things to help brains increase your BDNF, if you watched last week, and decrease your brain swelling, improve your brain junkyard, clean up the debris, and use that as a way to improve your fuel. So when I look at what am I trying to do with giving you ketones in a can, I am trying to fuel your mitochondria. Those mitochondria are used to using glucose. This is the supplement that I produce that has extra magnesium in it. Those are the ketones in a capsule that my husband can take. Again, there's nothing else except ketones in them, and they're salts, so you have to bind them with some other salts to make them work. So I put them with sodium, calcium, and magnesium. And you'll look at different brands out there and they use different combinations of those salts, but I think every supplement that goes into one of my ketone patients should have some extra magnesium. That's why I chose that. I also think it should have less other stuff. Just keep it clean with what we're trying to do. Some of the things I'm very adamant about teaching when you use these supplements, they are salts. So if you are in heart failure, if you're struggling with high blood pressure, I do want you lowering carbs over this journey, but sometimes adding the salts in order to help you with transitioning into ketosis, getting your body used to using ketones. Boy, I need you to be careful if you've got some failures in your diagnosis. Heart failure patients, kidney failure patients, these are salts and they're going to change the chemistry. The long game is going to be much better, but you really should be consulting your physician as you add certain salts to somebody whose fluid balance is that fragile. So second thing, when I add salts to somebody, especially if you are new to the supplement world, or especially exogenous ketones, these can cause diarrhea. So I've had folks which really what's going on is they have leaky gut. And it's not just a subtle problem with leaky gut, they have a swollen intestine. So they really can have a gentle step in the right direction. They absorb these really well. Their blood is filled with ketones, but you have to kind of gently help your bowels get used to it as well. So I think, when I look back at this supplement used in my mom, who, if you've read the book, you know she ends up with a serious bowel problem before this story's over. She struggled significantly to have ketones in a can and then not get diarrhea from them. So she does pretty good with this supplement. The ketones in a capsule, everything else is out of it, so she uses that as well. But I think she said it takes her like 5 capsules every 2 to 3 hours to get the ketones to go up as much as that one scoop of ketones in the powder form can do. So again, remember, these are made in the lab. You're not going to get ketoacidosis. Your kidney and your breath will blow off what you don't use in 2 to 3 hours. And you don't get in ketoacidosis for having high ketones for 2 hours. You get in ketoacidosis for 2 to 3 days of not relieving this high acid situation. So I've had some people say, you're going to go into ketoacidosis if your ketones are up to 8. Why did you take so many salts? I'm like, no, you just happened to check your salts, check your blood at the time where you had a peak level in your blood. And your kidneys will figure it out. Don't panic. And yeah, so this is the other part where when people are checking their urine test strips and they're taking this salt, I warn you, this is your testing that you took the supplement. So again, those ketones are going to be high for 2 to 3 hours. I'm very keto adapted, and so if I put ketones in my system, I'll use a lot of them, but I'll still turn my urine ketone strip positive at the next time I go to the bathroom after using a supplement. There's never going to be the perfect moment where you don't spill some into your urine. And that is just your kidneys doing a good job of keeping those ketones in a very narrow therapeutic range. Last thing is your blood test. Again, if you burst it up really high and you happen to check it at the top of that peak, just know that these only last 2 to 3 hours. So you're going to see that number go back down. It would win in the fastest way to get into ketosis is, ketone supplements like that. So I don't underestimate the power of these. I have teenagers, and if you want to see one of my funniest videos, I did it with my middle son, Walker, who had acne, and I got tired of chirping at him about the inflammatory reaction on his face. and said, if you just did ketones in a can, you did supplements of ketones for 2 weeks, I will not chirp about your acne. And so his acne went away, and I cajoled him into doing a video with me. And so he's sitting in front of this, we're sitting right here doing it, and he's kind of nervous, and he's like, oh, I feel tired, I'm kind of nervous. And I said, well, have some ketones. And we checked ketones live on the show about, I don't know, 10 minutes, not even 10 minutes, like 4 minutes later. And his ketones were like 5. So your blood tests will be affected when you absorb those ketones. They go into your circulation. It's also just a nice way for checks and balances of the supplements that are out there on the market. You know, I work really hard to put good stuff in my supplements. I don't have a lot of them. I don't have a supplement that I don't use in my family. But that's not the only place you can buy these. Be sure you're checking your numbers that the supplements are working. This doesn't need to be a guessing game. I'm all about the data. So
please subscribe to my channel. And don't forget to click the notification bell so you don't miss out on any new videos. Stay tuned.